As I ventured further into the desolate carnival grounds, a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant howl of the wind. It was as if the very atmosphere itself held its breath, aware of the dark secret that lay within these dilapidated structures. My heart raced as I approached the old carousel, its once vibrant colors now faded and worn. The sound of my footsteps echoed ominously, amplifying the feeling of solitude that surrounded me. I couldn't help but wonder what had transpired in this place, what had driven it to such a state of disrepair. As I reached the center of the carnival, I noticed a small, weathered sign that read Weeping Wendy's Chamber of Tears. It was a name that had haunted the town for generations, a name whispered in fear and trepidation. The legend spoke of a woman, beautiful yet tormented, who had met her tragic end within these very grounds. According to the tales, Weeping Wendy was a young woman full of life and dreams. She had been a performer in the carnival, captivating audiences with her enchanting dance and mesmerizing smile. But behind the facade of happiness, Wendy carried a heavy burden, one that grew heavier with each passing day. It was said that Wendy had fallen in love with a mysterious stranger who had come to the carnival. Their love was passionate and intense, but it was also forbidden. The stranger belonged to a rival carnival, and their union was seen as a betrayal. The whispers of jealousy and resentment grew louder, fueling a growing animosity between the two carnivals. One fateful night, as the moon cast an eerie glow over the carnival, tragedy struck. The rival carnival launched a vicious attack, seeking revenge for the stolen love. Chaos ensued, rides toppled, and screams filled the air. In the midst of the chaos, Wendy's life was cut short, her body found lifeless amidst the wreckage. But the legend did not end there. It was said that Wendy's spirit remained trapped within the carnival, forever weeping for the love she had lost. Those who dared to enter her chamber of tears would be consumed by her sorrow, their souls forever marked by her tragic tale. As I stood before the entrance to Wendy's chamber, a mix of curiosity and fear coursed through my veins. I knew that by stepping inside, I would be exposing myself to the unknown, to the darkness that lurked within. Yet, I couldn't resist the urge to uncover the truth, to unravel the mystery that surrounded Weeping Wendy. With a deep breath, I crossed the threshold, entering a world frozen in time. The air grew heavy with the weight of Wendy's sorrow, and I could almost hear her mournful cries echoing through the empty corridors. The walls were adorned with faded photographs, remnants of a life once lived. They captured the moments of joy and laughter, a stark contrast to the despair that now permeated the air. As I continued deeper into the chamber, I felt a presence, an otherworldly energy that enveloped me. It was as if Wendy's spirit was reaching out, desperate to share her story, to be heard after all these years. Weeping Wendy's story was not just a cautionary tale, but a reminder of the consequences of forbidden love and the power of jealousy. It was a reminder that even in the darkest corners of our existence, there is a glimmer of humanity that can be lost forever. As I left the chamber, the weight of Wendy's sorrow lingered in my heart. Her tale had touched me in ways I couldn't explain, and I knew that her spirit would forever be etched in my memory. Weeping Wendy was more than just an urban legend. She was a reminder of the fragility of life, of the choices we make, and the haunting consequences that can follow. If only this tale was the true origin of my story. The truth was far darker than any tale I had heard. My tale is one birthed in darkness and cloaked in shadow, contaminated with the blood of countless victims that all one by one fell to my scythe. With my latest victim in my sight, I stealthily made my way towards him. The crunch of gravel beneath my boots masked by the eerie silence that enveloped the abandoned carnival. The moonlight cast an otherworldly glow on the dilapidated rides and faded circus tents, adding to the haunting atmosphere. Shadows danced and flickered around me, as if they were alive, mirroring the darkness that consumed my soul. As I closed in on the drug dealer, the weight of my purpose bore down on me. I was the harbinger of justice, the grim reaper of the night, and it was my duty to rid the world of this malevolent presence. My heart pounded in my chest, a steady rhythm that echoed the anticipation of the impending confrontation. With each step, my mind raced, recounting the countless lives that had been destroyed by this man's poisonous trade. Families torn apart, dreams shattered, and innocence lost. The weight of their pain and suffering fueled my resolve, igniting a fire within me that burned brighter than the moon above. The wind whispered through the rusted metal structures, carrying the echoes of the past. It seemed as though the very essence of the carnival, once filled with laughter and joy, now mourned for the souls lost to the darkness. I became one with the desolation, my presence a mere specter in the night. As I finally stood before the drug dealer, his eyes widened with a mix of fear and recognition. He knew his time had come, that the reckoning he had long evaded was finally upon him. I could see the flicker of regret in his eyes, a glimmer of remorse for the lives he had irreversibly damaged. In that moment, I saw the fragility of his existence, the vulnerability hidden beneath the facade of power and control. It was a stark reminder that even the most hardened souls were capable of feeling remorse, of acknowledging the consequences of their actions. Without a word, I raised my scythe, its gleaming blade reflecting the moon's pale light. The air grew heavy with anticipation as time seemed to stand still. The drug dealer's breath hitched, his body frozen in a mixture of terror and resignation. With one swift, fluid motion, I brought the scythe down, severing the ties that bound him to this world. The blade sliced through the darkness, cutting through the sins that tainted his soul. The weight of his crimes dissipated, replaced by a sense of closure and redemption. A gasp escaped his lips, the bag of pills slipping from his hand as he crumpled to the ground. As his life force dissipated into the night, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Another soul had been harvested, another chapter closed. As I turned away from the lifeless body, the moonlight illuminated my face, casting an ethereal glow on my painted features. I was a guardian of the night, a symbol of justice in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. With renewed determination, I disappeared into the shadows, ready to face the next battle in this eternal war between light and darkness. As I approached, a sense of calm washed over me, my breath steady and my mind focused. Yet, a bittersweet emotion stirred within me, causing tears to well up in my eyes and blur my vision. This was my ritual, my curse. I wept not only for my victims, but also for the act itself, and for the unyielding inevitability of what was to come. In the aftermath of this somber moment, I couldn't help but question the morality of what I had become. Was I a mere executioner, carrying out a predetermined fate? Or was there a deeper purpose to my existence? These thoughts lingered in my mind, intertwining with the remorse that gnawed at my conscience. I, Wendy Thorne, came into this world as the daughter of a gravedigger, in a desolate and dilapidated town that seemed to be locked in perpetual decay. My father, a man of few words, possessed a brooding nature that drew him closer to the realm of the deceased than that of the living. Tragically, my mother departed from this earthly existence when I was but a tender soul, leaving me to navigate the vast expanse of life's intricacies all on my own. From the tender age of innocence, I found solace and inexplicable fascination within the confines of the cemetery. It was there, amidst the hushed whispers of the wind and the elongated shadows cast by the tombstones, that I discovered a peculiar sense of belonging. The departed souls became my silent companions, their ethereal presence offering respite from the overwhelming solitude that permeated my existence. My father, though emotionally distant, recognized the yearning within me and took it upon himself to transmit the somber art of his trade. Thus, I swiftly acquired the knowledge and dexterity necessary to handle the tools of death with a chilling proficiency. The cemetery became my sanctuary, a place where I could commune with the spirits of those who had long departed from the realm of the living. Each tombstone held a story, a narrative waiting to be unraveled. I would spend hours, days, and nights lost in the depths of these tales, allowing them to seep into my very being. It was in these moments of communion that the darkness within me began to take shape, intertwining with the delicate threads of my own existence. As the years passed, I grew accustomed to the ceaseless whispers of the departed, their voices resonating deep within the recesses of my soul. The boundaries between the living and the dead blurred, and I found myself straddling the delicate line between the two realms. The weight of my loneliness was alleviated, replaced by an eerie sense of purpose. I became the keeper of their stories, the guardian of their memories, forever bound to the ethereal realm that lay just beyond the veil of mortality. Weeping Wendy, they called me, for the tears that streamed down my face as I stood at the gravesides, mourning not only the loss of life but also the profound beauty that lay hidden within the tales of the departed. Each tear that fell was a testament to the profound connection I felt with those who had passed, a reminder that their stories were not lost to the relentless march of time. In those early days, I found myself face to face with a stray cat that had unknowingly wandered into the solemn grounds of the cemetery. In a moment of inexplicable compulsion, I succumbed to the whisper's seductive call and took its life. The act, though dark and unfathomable to comprehend, brought forth an unexpected release, an intoxicating surge of sinister delight that filled the void within me. As time passed and I matured, the whispers grew louder and more assertive, guiding and shaping me into the embodiment of their dark desires. It was through their insidious guidance that I ultimately discovered the Order of Shadows, an ancient and clandestine collective that harnessed the very essence of darkness and wielded it for their own clandestine purposes. Within the depths of this secretive organization, I found solace and purpose, as they took me under their wing and initiated me into their enigmatic ways. The Order of Shadows became my sanctuary, my home, and my guiding light in the realm of darkness. Under their tutelage, I honed my skills, mastering the art of manipulating shadows and transforming myself into their most lethal weapon. Through countless hours of training, I learned to dance effortlessly in the inky blackness, embracing the shadows that clung to me like a second skin. With each passing day, my connection to the darkness deepened, intertwining with my very being. It became a part of me, a force that surged through my veins, empowering me beyond imagination. Yet, with this newfound power came a grave responsibility. The Order of Shadows had their own clandestine agenda, and I willingly became their instrument of chaos and retribution. From the depths of the shadows, I emerged as a harbinger of their will, an agent of their malevolent intentions. As I ventured further into the abyss, my purpose became clearer. I was to be the embodiment of their darkness, the instrument through which they would carry out their hidden machinations. The whispers, once mere ethereal voices, now resonated with a sense of authority, urging me forward on a path shrouded in mystery and trepidation. And so, I embraced my fate, embracing the shadows that had become my allies. With each passing day, I grew stronger, more attuned to the darkness that surrounded me. The world may shun me, label me a creature of the night, but in truth, I had found my purpose within the embrace of the shadows. But the Order, with its rigid rules and regulations, could not contain the fire of vengeance burning within me. My hunger for retribution grew insatiable, overpowering the teachings that once guided me. So, I made the difficult decision to become a rogue element, a hunter lurking in the shadows of the night. I became a meticulous predator, carefully selecting my targets. Each one was a reflection of the monsters that had haunted my past. The darkness became my ally, guiding my every move as I brandished my scythe of justice under the cover of night. Word of my exploits spread like wildfire, and the legend of Weeping Wendy was born. Whispers echoed through the streets, painting me as a ghostly figure consumed by vengeance. They claimed that I wept for my victims, shedding tears of remorse before extinguishing their lives. And in a way, they were right. My tears were not those of a heartless killer, but rather a testament to the humanity that still clung to my soul. Each life I took weighed heavily on my conscience, a burden I could never shake off. The weight of their blood stained my hands, and the echoes of their final breaths haunted my dreams. Yet, despite the emotional toll, I pressed forward, driven by the unwavering belief that I was serving a higher purpose. In the depths of the night, I became both judge and executioner, delivering justice to those who had evaded its grasp. With each swing of my scythe, I hoped to bring solace to the victims' families and a glimmer of hope to a world plagued by darkness. The path I had chosen was a solitary one, with no room for companionship or redemption. I was a lone wolf, navigating the treacherous terrain of my own inner demons. And while my actions may have been viewed as morally ambiguous, I knew that the ends justified the means. But as the body count grew and the weight of my actions became too heavy to bear, I couldn't help but wonder if there was another way. Was there a way to quench the thirst for justice without sacrificing my own humanity? Could I find a balance between vengeance and redemption, or was I forever condemned to walk this path alone? These questions remained unanswered as I continued my solitary crusade, my scythe gleaming in the moonlight. The darkness had become my sanctuary, a place where I could hide my tears and confront the demons that resided within me. And until I found the answers I sought, I would forever be known as Weeping Wendy, the vengeful spirit who walked the thin line between justice and damnation. My countenance bore an uncanny resemblance to the abyss, a mysterious shroud that concealed my features with an ethereal veil. The depths of my eyes remained hidden, veiled beneath a sinister shade of crimson that evoked images of blood slowly seeping into the earth, leaving behind a trail of macabre secrets. Encircling my eyes was a smoky hue of charcoal eyeliner, carefully applied to accentuate the hollow emptiness that lurked within, as if darkness itself had found solace in the recesses of my being. My lips, adorned in a deep and foreboding shade of plum, curved into a malevolent smirk, a harbinger of the impending doom that I effortlessly wielded with my scythe. Its blade, glistening ominously in the silvery moonlight, served as a tangible manifestation of the power I possessed. In the realm of urban legends, I became a name whispered in hushed tones, a cautionary tale that sent shivers down the spines of those daring enough to venture into forbidden territories. But behind the legend, there existed a woman driven by a darkness she could not control. A hunter, relentless in her pursuit, whose tears held the weight of a shattered soul, the remnants of a once vibrant spirit now consumed by shadows. In the dimly lit warehouse, the air was heavy with anticipation as I stalked my prey, Emily, the rising star of social media. It was a small town reminiscent of the one I had left behind, a place where innocence and vulnerability often went hand in hand. But Emily was no innocent victim. She used her influential platform to manipulate and exploit her followers, and it was my duty to put an end to her deceitful ways. For weeks, I had meticulously observed her every move, studying her habits and vulnerabilities. I became intimately familiar with her routines, her preferences, and the darkest corners of her online persona. The night I finally made my move, she was alone, engrossed in filming a new video within the confines of an old, abandoned warehouse she had stumbled upon, captivated by its aesthetic appeal. As I stealthily maneuvered through the shadows, my heart pounded with the exhilaration of the chase. The thrill of the hunt coursed through my veins, fueling my determination to bring justice to those who had fallen victim to Emily's web of manipulation. She was so engrossed in her performance, so consumed by her self-absorbed world, that she remained oblivious to the danger lurking just beyond her camera's lens. With each calculated step, the scythe I wielded glinted ominously, casting an eerie reflection in the lens of her camera. The silence was broken only by the sound of her own breath, quickening with fear and confusion. She turned, her eyes widening in terror as she finally caught sight of me, tears streaming down my painted face.
"Who the hell are you? Stay away from me!"
Her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and curiosity. And in that moment, I realized the weight of my mission, the responsibility I carried to expose her true nature to the world. "I am the voice of the silenced, your reckoning," I replied, my voice low and filled with righteous conviction. With every word, I moved closer, closing the distance between us. Emily's face contorted with a mix of fear and defiance, as she struggled to comprehend the gravity of her actions. The warehouse seemed to shrink around us, the walls closing in, mirroring the suffocating grip of her deceit on her unsuspecting followers. As I finally stood before her, the scythe held firmly in my grasp, I saw a flicker of realization in her eyes. The facade that she had so carefully crafted was crumbling, exposing the vulnerable soul that lay beneath. In that moment, I couldn't help but feel a pang of empathy for the person she could have been, had she chosen a different path. In that fleeting moment, her scream pierced the silence, but it was abruptly silenced as the blade of the scythe found its mark. The force of my swing was resolute, and she crumpled to the ground, her body collapsing under the weight of her impending demise. The camera, an impartial witness to the unfolding drama, captured her final moments, immortalizing her fate in a haunting visual testimony. One might question whether I ever experience remorse, if the gravity of my actions ever weighs upon my conscience. The answer, undoubtedly, is yes. The darkness that engulfs my existence allows for no escape from the tormenting whispers of guilt and regret. Each kill offers a temporary respite, a fleeting moment of liberation from the relentless taunting, but simultaneously serves as a stark reminder of the humanity I have long forsaken. I am aware that my time is limited, that eventually, the day of reckoning will arrive. Whether it be through capture or death, the inevitable conclusion awaits. Yet, until that fateful moment, I am compelled to continue the hunt. Driven by an insatiable hunger, I prowl the shadows, seeking out those who deserve the judgment I am tasked to deliver. The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline coursing through my veins, fuels my relentless pursuit as I navigate the treacherous terrain of my own twisted existence. Until one fateful night, my hunt was interrupted. I sensed a presence in the shadows that felt strangely familiar. A powerful presence I had not felt in years. As I stood there, face to face with Elias, memories flooded back, each one carrying the weight of the secrets we had once shared. The Order of Shadows, an ancient and enigmatic organization, had been our home for years. Together, we had honed our skills, delving into the darkness and mastering its power. But I had chosen a different path, one that led me away from the shadows and into the light. As I watched the shadows dance around me, I made a silent vow. I would continue to protect the innocent, to bring light to the darkest corners of the world. And perhaps, in doing so, I would find a way to reconcile the shadows that still lingered within me. As he approached, his words hung in the air, laden with a mix of admiration and disdain.
"You've made quite a name for yourself,"
he began, his voice carrying a hint of both respect and caution.
"but the Order does not forget. You were once our greatest weapon, a force to be reckoned with, and now, you've become a rogue element, a liability that cannot be ignored."
His words stung, but I stood my ground, my eyes narrowing with determination. "I made a choice," I retorted, my voice filled with a mix of defiance and bitterness. "I left the Order, and with it, any allegiance I had to you." Elias, the embodiment of authority, smirked, his lips curling into a cruel smile.
"You may have severed your ties, but remember this, my dear. The Order has not forgotten you. They have sent someone with a personal vendetta to deal with you."
My heart skipped a beat as his words sunk in. Another figure emerged from the shadows, a woman whose presence exuded an aura of darkness and danger. Her eyes, icy and calculating, bore into mine, sending a shiver down my spine. She was known as the Whispering Blade, a name that struck fear into the hearts of even the bravest souls. Her methods were as precise as they were brutal, leaving a trail of devastation in her wake.
"So the legends of Weeping Wendy were true,"
she whispered, her voice barely audible but filled with a bone-chilling intensity.
"It's time to settle this. Once and for all."
As the weight of her words settled upon me, I knew that this confrontation would be unlike anything I had faced before. The stakes were higher, the danger more palpable. The path I had chosen had led me to this moment, where I would have to face the consequences of my actions head-on. A surge of adrenaline coursed through my veins, fueling my resolve. No longer bound by the chains of loyalty, I would fight with every fiber of my being. The time for regrets had long passed. Now, it was a battle for my freedom, my survival. With a steady gaze, I met the eyes of my adversaries, ready to face whatever fate had in store for me. The echoes of my past mingled with the uncertainty of the present, creating a symphony of tension and anticipation. The stage was set, and the curtain was about to rise on a clash of wills that would shape the course of my destiny. A surge of darkness consumed me, enveloping my very being, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, a flicker of fear crept into my heart. This was no ordinary pursuit, no run-of-the-mill chase. No, this was a long-awaited confrontation, a clash that had been brewing and simmering for years. It was a showdown between two individuals, both honed and molded by the notorious order, renowned for producing the most skilled and lethal assassins. The shadows, like loyal allies, closed in around us, creating an impenetrable barrier that separated us from the rest of the world. The night itself seemed to hold its breath, as if aware of the magnitude of this encounter. It was a hunt like no other, a hunt where not only our lives were at stake, but our very essence, our souls. In the depths of that darkness, I could feel the pulsating energy of the hunt coursing through my veins. Every fiber of my being was attuned to the rhythm of the chase, the adrenaline pumping through me, heightening my senses. It was a dance, a deadly waltz, where every move could be a step towards victory or a step towards oblivion. Yet, amidst the thrill and the danger, a sense of trepidation lingered. I knew the capabilities of my opponent, their skills honed to perfection, just like mine. We were mirror images, reflections of each other's prowess, both trained to be the deadliest killers the Order had ever produced. But this time, it was personal. This time, it was not just about fulfilling a mission or following orders. It was about settling a score, about proving who was truly superior. As the tension in the air grew thicker, the anticipation reached its zenith. The moment had arrived. The hunt was on. With every step, every breath, the world around us faded into insignificance. There was only the two of us, locked in a battle of wills, a struggle for supremacy. In that moment, I embraced the darkness within me, allowing it to fuel my every move. It was a part of me, an integral aspect that had shaped me into the formidable assassin I had become. But now, it was different. It was no longer a mere tool, but a force to be reckoned with, a force that demanded respect and commanded attention. And so, with every calculated step, I ventured deeper into the abyss, my senses heightened, my instincts razor-sharp. The hunt had become a test of not only physical prowess but also mental fortitude. It was a game of strategy, of outmaneuvering and outsmarting the other, a battle fought not just with weapons, but with cunning and guile. In the midst of the darkness and uncertainty, I found solace in the knowledge that this was a moment that would be etched into the annals of history. It was a clash that would be remembered, a tale that would be passed down through generations. And as I stood there, ready to face my adversary, I knew that regardless of the outcome, I had already become a part of something greater than myself. The hunt had begun, and I was prepared to embrace it wholeheartedly, knowing that destiny awaited at the end of this treacherous journey. The darkness surged within me, intertwining with my resolve, as I took that first step, ready to confront the shadows and emerge from this battle as the victor or embrace the solitude of knowing the Grim Reaper's scythe has finally come for me.
Your support means everything to us. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen for more shadowy delights.